guys, welcome back. My name is Jeff Cordero, and today I'm going to be going over my setup for 2022. So the bow I'm going to shoot this year, if you follow my Instagram, which you should, to no surprise, is going to be this Mathews V3X 33. I went and shot a lot of bows this year at the bow shop and tested a lot because I wanted to give a complete, unbiased opinion of what felt good for me. And of all the bows that felt the best, this Mathews V3X 33 fit the bill. So the overall axle to axle length on this bow is 33 inches, and with these large cams that Mathews has, it almost feels like you're shooting a 34 or 35 inch axle to axle bow. For me, being 6 foot and having a long wingspan and shooting a 29 3/4 inch draw, having a longer axle to axle bow just feels more comfortable in my hand. I don't feel like I'm scrunched down as far in the string, and honestly, it shoots better. A longer axle to axle bow is a little more forgiving and they just shoot better. So for someone like myself, this is what I wanted to go with. There were some other bows that fit the bill, but this one felt the best in my hand. So the setup I have here is I'm going to be shooting 75-pound mods and 80% let off at 29 3/4 inches. Putting this on the draw board after I put these strings on it, this thing drew at 80 pounds. Now I expect that to back off a little bit once I shoot these strings in for another couple hundred more shots. Maybe it's gonna drop off a pound or two, but I know other people who have had 75-pound mods on here and they've only dropped down, or they've kind of chronoed or pulled at 77 pounds. So I feel super optimistic that this setup with the longer draw length that I have is going to absolutely shoot lasers with a heavier arrow. So speaking of arrows, let's go into that. I picked up the Mathews Quiver for this bow. Why? Because I think it looks cool, and why not? I had a tight spot quiver and I like them, but I do like how these point of contacts on these new Mathews quivers are a lot further away, and there's 2 points of contact. With a tight spot or other quivers, usually there's only 1 point of contact where it attaches. The arrow itself might have 2 points of holding contact, but the quiver itself only has 1 point of contact to the bow, unless you go get like a 2-piece quiver from Hoyt or Mathews. So this year, they have this detachable 1-piece quiver that of course costs a pretty penny because it's Mathews, but I think it's worth it. It fits really slim to the bow, and if you're going to use any of the Mathews branded products for this, you're gonna have an ultra low profile fitting system. The arrows that I'm going to be shooting this year are the Sirius Orions. These are a 250 spine. I'm going to be running a wrap with a 4 fletch in the back. These are the Tack Driver 275 vanes. I do like how stiff and rigid they are, and the weight of them. These are a lot lighter than some of the other vanes that are on the market, and trying to get a more forward of center arrow than I've shot in the past, just because the more weight I have put up front, the better I have shot with it. So I'm not gonna, it's not like extreme where I got like 25% FOC, but I think this arrow comes out to be about 17%. The overall weight of this arrow is 529 grains. I have 110 collar weight plus insert and a 125 field point. So for a total of 210 up front and an arrow that spines out correctly with this bow. This thing is gonna absolutely shoot lasers. I don't know what the speed is on it. I haven't chronoed it, but I know I can get about 125 on the current sight tape that I have on this bow, which is about 18 yards further than I could get on my Hoyt. So with these strings that I got for this bow, I put a pair of Threads bow strings on. I went with Flow Orange string and Flow Orange serving, and I think it looks pretty damn good. I've always had good success with Threads, so I figured I will go with them with this bow. I'm shooting a Raptor Peep. This is a 3/16 Raptor Peep, and it fits this HHA housing really well, which is I think 1 7/8", which is a bigger housing. Speaking of the sight, this is an HHA Tetra Max. I got this, and I've shot a dovetail in the past, but one thing I absolutely loved about this bow was the bridge lock system. How the sight slides into the riser itself, eliminating one more piece of contact point onto the bow, and possible bolts coming loose, vibrations, moving weight out further. So when you're using the bridge lock system for the sight and you are going to use the QAD integrated rest on these bows, you can have a really super slim profile bow. Everything will fit within the confines of the limbs, and that I think it just moves everything to the center, and it's just got a nicer, cleaner look, and it helps. I don't know what it helps with, but it helps. So, but the rest that I'm going to shoot this year is I'm continuing with HHA. This is an HHA Virtus drop away. This is a cable driven rest. I have not shot this in the past, but from having it on for this week, it fits and works really well. The only thing I do not like about it is that it fits off the bow a little further than I would prefer. And when you have the quiver on, these two center arrows just barely are touching up against the rest, and it creates a little bit of buzz or vibration. So I put a piece of felt that came with this HHA rest. I don't know what it's for, but I put it on the back side here, and it took all that buzz and eliminated it. Moving down, I took the Engage grip off. I am not a big fan of the Engage grip that comes on these Mathews bows, so I replaced it with the side plates, and then I have Bowmar grip tape wrapped around it. I do like this. It is very thin. It's thinner than like tennis racket tape or racquetball tape, and it's got just enough tack to it when you first get it that shooting outside in the humid summers that we have in North Carolina, it's just enough tack. And once you get a little bit of dirt and grime into it, it kind of takes like the stickiness away from it, and it just makes it a nice, comfortable, consistent hold for me. I prefer that than shooting just off the bare riser, but I have no problem shooting off the riser. It has a nice little finished texture to it. So I picked up this bow in the new granite color for the riser, and I went with subalpine limbs. I think this setup looks absolutely really cool. I kind of wish I went with the olive green, but I still think it looks really good. This stabilizer setup that I'm shooting on this bow this year, I went with a longer front bar than I ran last year. Last year I ran a 10-inch front bar, and this is a 15-inch bee stinger front bar on an 8-degree down from Mathews with 2 ounces of weight up front and a dampener. I do like, now that I've shot my target bow a lot, I do like having a little bit longer of a stabilizer with a little bit less weight out front. For me, I feel like that holds better, and I don't think it's going to get in the way of hunting, moving around. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna take it at tack and see how it carries, but I've had no problem carrying it around out back, even though it's just my backyard and I'm barely in the woods, but I've had no problems with it. The back bar, I'm gonna continue to shoot one of these. I started to shoot one last year, and then shooting one on my target bow, I really like the way and the feel of a back bar. It just adds a little bit more bias into the bow for me, and I feel like I have a cleaner, more consistent shot when I run a back bar. This is a 8-inch bar from Bee Stinger, the micro hex as well, on a Shrewd back bar mount. I am running 4 degrees down and 3 degrees out with 4 inches of weight out back. So, or sorry, 4 ounces of weight out back. So 4 ounces out back, 2 ounces out front. I ran a longer back bar earlier this year. Like, I think I had a 10-inch bar on here. I used my old front 10-inch front bar as a back bar, and it just stuck out too far. And I found myself, like I do with my target bow, really having to like move the bow around to clear my hip if I picked it up and I wanted to manipulate it. And I like just being able to sit the cam right up onto my pocket and then be able to slide the bow over in front of me. With the longer bar, I felt like I was really having to come around, and I had to be more conscious of it. So I like shooting a back bar, but I don't want to shoot anything that's like excessively long. I think 8 inches is about the max I would go. I could even go to about a 6-inch bar and still be very happy with it. So if you guys got any more questions about the setup that I'm running or why I chose the products I chose, drop a comment down below and ask me, and I'll make sure I get back to you. But guys, until next time, I'm Jeff Cordero. We'll catch you on the next video.